Hey yo, what is up guys, your boy Prey here. Today we are gonna be talking about a highly requested topic, and that is how to plan a village and what should you be taking into consideration before starting building it. Now, before getting into the video, according to my YouTube analytics, only 70% of the people watching me are actually subscribed. So if you end up enjoying the video, consider subscribing. It's free and you can change your mind at any time. Now, let's get right into the video. First, and maybe the most important thing that you need to take into consideration before building anything is why are you starting this project? What is the purpose of the village? Is it going to be a place where you will live, or just a build you make for aesthetic reasons? What style are you gonna be using? Is it going to be Nordic, medieval, ancient, modern, sci-fi? Because you need to make sure you don't have 10 different styles in a city made out of 15 houses. I mean, of course, you can spice things up if you want, but the style is nevertheless important and it's better to establish it from the start. Also, make sure you understand what exactly do you want to accomplish with a village, and again, why do you want that. This will help you later on to stay motivated to build it by knowing exactly what it is for. Should you have all the resources before starting the project? Well, the answer to this question is actually complicated. It really depends on what kind of person you are. You can definitely gather all the materials before starting, but from my experience I kinda get bored doing the same thing for long periods of time. Therefore, what I do, and what I would also advise you to do, is make a plan for the day. Then break down the plan in smaller time frames, like, I don't know, gathering up materials for 50 minutes, then laying out the base for one of the buildings. After that, eventually you can go ahead and do some terraforming or gather up more resources, stuff like that. That's what I do, at least, to make sure I don't lose motivation and interest into building. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. This point is exactly what it says. Don't be afraid of starting the project and failing. Because, look at me. Look at this building. Do you think I'm gonna be leaving it into the world? I mean, do you really think that? No, of course not. Of course I'm not gonna be leaving it like that. It doesn't matter that I wasted probably around an hour and a half on it to make it work. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And that's the beauty of Minecraft. It's a sandbox game. Whenever you want, you can just shut things down, remove it, and start from the beginning. Of course. Now, what I would advise you to do, especially if you play survival, is open up a creative world and test out stuff. This way you can make sure your idea is doable, and it will help you waste less time by knowing from the start roughly how many materials you are going to be needing. And also what steps you need to do to build that thing. Because in survival, we all know that it's a bit harder than in creative. Switching things up. This is mostly something that I've talked about already in the second point, but it's a thing that is so underrated I feel it deserves its own topic. Adding farmlands and terraforming areas like, I don't know, riversides, lakes, cliffs can really give your world actual life. Well, not literally, but it can feel like your world is alive, it gives some context and it looks more natural, besides improving your build visually by a lot. Like really, if you have enough farmlands, you don't even need to be a good builder. It makes up for everything. Now, the last point that I want to talk about, and I think you should take into consideration, is the color palette. I know we've talked about styles and the idea of having pretty much the same style for the whole city, but besides having the same style, you should also make sure the colors you are using are getting together nicely. There are a lot of cities in the world, in the real world, in which you can build your house with only one color, or you can choose between a limited number of colors. That should be the case in your world as well, because it gives a feel of order and it looks like there is actually a real community here. As a bonus, it forces you to decorate more in order to create more depth between your buildings rather than using the same house but with different colors, just so it does not look copy-pasted. Now, let's do a recap of what we have talked about in this video. First of all, make sure you know what is the purpose of the village and why are you building it. Secondly, don't get stuck by trying to gather all the materials before building. Just start building so you can get a feel of accomplishment. Third, don't be afraid of making mistakes. There is no such a thing as a correct way to build. Building is about having fun and all that comes with it. Also, make sure you use a similar color palette, and last but not least, use farmlands. I cannot stress enough to tell you how important they are. But anyways guys, this is pretty much it for the video. I was Spray and I wish you a great one. Bye bye!